In this video, we're going to have a look at some of the basic properties of indices at National 5 level. We'll try and build up some of the shortcuts that we'll be able to eventually use. Okay, so we've got example 1a here. We want to simplify the following. 2x cubed multiplied by 7x to the power of 4. Now I'm going to actually write this out a long way. I'm going to make our lives a bit more tricky initially. So 2x cubed is the same as 2 times x times x times x. I've got 2x cubed. Then I'm multiplying that by 7 times x to the 4. X times x times x times x. And if we can then just multiply the numbers, that's 14. Then we've got x times x times x, that's x cubed, x to the 4, x to the 5, x to the 6, x to the 7. So my answer here is 14x to the power 7. But how can I use this shortcut? Well, if we have a look at our initial question, how did this tie in with our final answer? Well, hopefully you can see that when we're multiplying, we can just add the powers as long as the base is the same. What do I mean by base? I mean that as long as the thing attached to the power is the exact same, then we can add the powers. So we can now just go and take a shortcut here for this problem. We don't need to worry about doing writing out in full. We can just take the shortcut. 10 times 4 is 40. And we are multiplying. The bases are the same. So that means that we can simply add the powers. Negative 3 plus 8. Negative 3 plus 8 is 5. So it's 40 x to the power 5. Okay, let's have a look at this question. 20x to the power 6 divided by 22x squared. Once again, I'm going to do this the long way. I'm going to actually write this as a fraction. Times x times x times x times x times x times x, I think. What have we got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And that's over 22 times x times x. Well, hopefully you can see here that we can simplify our numbers. 2 goes into this 10 times and into this 11 times. And this x would simplify with this x, for example, and this x could simplify with this x. So what am I left with? Well, I'm left with 10. 1, 2, 3, 4. I've got 10x to the power 4 over 11. So how does that tie in here? Well, hopefully you can see that in this case, when we were dividing, how did we get that power of 4? Well, we simply subtracted. Okay, a mistake people make is they would say maybe it's x cubed because they've done 6 divided by 2. But you need to remember that when we are dividing, when the base is the same, okay, when the base is the same, and when we're dividing, we can just subtract the powers as a shortcut. So let's have a look at this question here. I'm just going to once again rewrite this as a fraction. I think it's a wee bit easier to identify how to simplify the numbers as well. Okay, so I can see I am dividing, so I'm going to subtract the powers. So I'm going to have a y to the power 5. And I just need to deal with these guys. So 5 goes into this 5 times and into this 7 times. So my answer is 5y to the power 5 over 7. Okay, let's have a look here. Here we've got a power raised to a power. What does this mean? M to the power 5 cubed. Well, cubed means to times by itself 3 times. So what that means is I need to multiply that by itself 3 times. M to the 5 multiplied by M to the 5 multiplied by M to the 5. And we just learned that when we're multiplying, when the bases are the same, the bases are all the same here, when we're multiplying, we can simply use the shortcut and we can add the powers. 5 plus 5 plus 5 is 15. Is there a shortcut to get from here to here? Oh, yeah, there is. Because when we have a power raised to a power, we can just use the shortcut of multiplying those two values. 3 5s are 15. So instead of writing y to the 7 times y to the 7 times y to the 7 8 times, we can use this shortcut. We've got a power raised to a power. So I can just multiply these two guys. So that's 7 8s are 56. I'm going to just show you something here. I'm going to write this out in full before applying the shortcut. So what does this mean? This means 2m to the 4 times 2m to the 4 times 2m to the 4. That is going to give us the answer of 2 times 2 is 4 times 2 is 8. We're going to get 8m to the power 12. Okay, I wrote it out in full here because a mistake that people make is they do this. They'll say it's 2m to the power 12, which is incorrect. Okay, we need to remember that this power of 3 is applying to everything inside our bracket. Okay, so if we were to write this a bit differently, I'll try and get back to that in a wee moment. Okay, just to summarise the big ideas from this lesson. When we multiply, this first bullet point here, when we multiply, that means that we can just add the powers. When we divide, we can subtract the powers. And when we've got a power to a power, we can just multiply them. Okay, so those are the big ideas of this lesson. Just want to try and go back down here, see if my pen's going to work. So this problem here, there we go, 2m to the 4 cubed. Essentially, this cubed applies to both the 2 and the m to the 4. That's how we get our 2 cubed, which is 8m to the power 12 as well. Okay, so that's just an introduction to indices at National 5. We have a few more videos to look into some of the more like the complexities of it. Thanks very much.